You ladies may want to turn around so you can actually see. All right, so we're starting on number 18 here. It says to solve each system, you may use graphing on paper or in the calculator, substitution or elimination. So remember, when we have a system, that means we have two different equations, and we want to find the answer for x and y. And our answer is going to look like a parentheses with a number, comma, a number, with the first number being x, the second number being y. Okay? So we have number 18. What do you notice about number 18, Emily? They're both what on 18?
Y equals.
Y equals. And where can we put y equals 1?
In the calculator.
In the calculator. So let's do it. Turn your calculator on. Go to y equals. Clear out whatever's in there. Don't forget, anything in fractions needs to be put in parentheses. All right. So 3/4 x plus 1. Now remember, whenever it's at the beginning, it's a negative. Okay? When it's in the middle, it's a minus, but at the beginning, it's a negative. So that's a negative 1/2 x minus 4. So at the beginning, it's a negative. In the middle, it's a minus. So you're just getting that straight off the worksheet off of number 18 and typing it in the calculator. And then let's go to our graph and see if we see it. Do we see the intersection on this, on mine? I see it on mine. Do you see it on yours?
Yes.
Okay, if you don't see it on yours, what do you need to change?
The window.
The window. And you're going to have to move it. If you need to move it this way, you go to the x min. If you need to move it this way, you need to go to x max. If you wanted to move it up this way, you go to y max. If you want to move it down here, you go to y min. Okay? But because you can see the intersection, you don't have to change the window, right? It's only if you need to. So how do we find the intersection? What buttons do we hit? Just remember? How do we calculate? Second calc. Second calc. Because whenever we're wanting to calculate something, we go to second calc. And which one are we wanting? Value, 0, minimum, maximum, intersect?
5.
Intersect is right. We're wanting it because intersect's where they cross, and that's the answer. So we're going to intersect. And is it saying, is that your first curve? Double check that you typed it right. Yes, that's right. Is that your second curve? Yes, that's right. Do you want me to guess? Yes, I do. -4, comma, -2. So, -4, comma, -2. And because you use the calculator, you probably want to write calc on here so that you can get credit for doing your work. So number 19, how would you do that one, John? Put it in your calculator because they're both y equals, right? So let's go to y equals, clear out what we've got in here. Make sure to put our fractions in parentheses. That's in the middle, so that's a minus. This one's at the beginning, so that's a negative. Don't forget your x's. That's the most common thing people miss, is they don't have x's in there. So make sure you have not forgotten your x's. Okay. Once I type it in, what do I do next, Ashay? So go to graph, yep, and see if I can see the intersection or not. Can we see the intersection?
Yes.
Do we need to change the window?
No.
No, because we can see it. Okay, so now that we can make sure we can see the intersection, what do we do next, Dakari? If you can't see the intersection, you need to change your window. Can you see it? Okay, because you might have a different window than me. It's just whatever your window's set to. Okay? All right, so what do I hit? Well, after I know I can see the intersection, what do I hit? Second calc, good. Keep going. Where do I go next? Emily, 5, good. And then, is that my first curve? Yes. Is that my second curve? Yes. 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 All right. So -3, comma, -2, and I'm going to write calc down here. But I did it in the calculator so that when I'm grading it, I know where your answer came from. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so these are not too bad. But look at number 20. What are we going to do on number 20?
Yeah, solve it.
You could solve it for y and then put it in the calculator. Absolutely, you could do that. Is there another way to do it?
There's like.
Yeah, I could,
Oh, no, wait.
they're not lining up though, so no, they're not gonna cross off. But that's good thinking though, Dakari. They're not lining up because the y is not with the y, and the x is not with the x, and the equal sign's not with the equal sign. So it's not lining up, so it's not gonna be elimination, but good thinking, Dakari. Okay, so, Emily suggests that we solve for y, so let's do that. Do we need to solve this bottom one here?
No.
No, let's leave that one alone. Take this one right here and solve this one for y. So move this one right here. 3x plus 2y equals -5. And if I solve it for y, I want the y to stay here. So what piece do I want to move, Dashe? If I want the y to stay here, what piece do I want to move? The 3x. And so it's a positive 3x, so we're going to minus 3x on both sides. Now, is the negative 3x the same kind of term as a -5? No, so I don't write it underneath that. I write it to the side because they're different kinds of terms. Okay, we have constants and x's, and they're not the same. This crosses off, and we get 2y equals -5 minus 3x. Correct, we're going to divide by 2 on both sides. We get y equals, and then we're going to break this up. So -5 divided by 2, math inner, is that still -5 halves, right? Yes. -3 divided by 2, math inner is -3 halves x. And then if you want to, you can turn these around, because that's what we usually do. We usually put our x first. So then that's going to be y equals -3 halves x minus 5 halves. Okay? And then we don't want to forget this one. We still need this one as well. And we got to put both of those in our calculator. Both of those have got to go in our calculator. So go to y in there. It doesn't matter which one you put on y1 and which one you put on y2. It does not matter, as long as both lines are in there. I'm going to put this one first because it was the top one. So this first one here is a negative because it's first. Got to put your fraction in parentheses. This one's in the middle, so it's a minus. Fraction in parentheses, like that. Okay? You'll see it. It's got a negative, and then your fraction in your parentheses, and then an x, and then a minus, and then your fraction in parentheses. Okay, so then down, that's a negative. Okay, I've got them both entered in. And then I'm going to go to my graph, and I'm going to see if I see my intersection. Do you see your, I don't see my intersection. If you do, you're good to go on to second calc, but I don't. So I have to figure out where I want to go. Am I trying to go down here and see this down here? Over here on the right, the top, or the left? Which way am I trying to see?
Down to the right.
Down and to the right? So I think mostly I need down, because I think it's going to be like right here. Don't you think it's going to be like right here somewhere?
Yep.
So I'm mostly going to want to go down. So I know that up and down is y, and down is y minimum, right? So I'm going to go to my window, and my y minimum right now is -5. I'm going to change it to -10. I'm going to see if that gets it for me. Okay, I'm going to go back to my graph, and I'm going to see if now I can see it. Yep, now I can. So I'm good to go. And you just keep playing with your window until you can see your intersection. Okay, guys? Does anybody have any questions about how to do that? Okay, so go to second calc, intersect, check and make sure you typed your things right. Your first curve is right. Your second curve is right. Go ahead and guess. My intersection is 3, -7. And you do want to write calc next to that because you did use the calculator to find that. Okay. So if you don't want to use a calculator though, there is another method, and that method right up here is called substitution. What does it mean to substitute something? To replace. So can I replace this y equals 8x plus 13 in there somewhere? Yes, I can put it right here. Does everybody see that's where I can put it? Because it's equal to y. And if I put it there, I'm rewriting this equation right here. This is the equation I'm rewriting. So that would be 2x minus 2, but then instead of y, I'm going to put negative 8x plus 13, and then I still write equals negative 8. I just substituted in, instead of y, I put this in. Okay? So now I'm going to try to solve for x. Is there anything on the left side that can be simplified, Bakari? Anything here that can be done on the left side here? Distribution, good. So negative 2 times negative 8x. So this 2x is not being distributed because it's a separate term. Do you see how it's separated from this? So this is just going to come straight. So negative 2 times negative 8x is positive 16x. Negative 2 times positive 13 is a negative 26. And then we're going to equal negative 8 over here. Right. So looking at this side, Dasha, is there anything more I can simplify here?
2x plus 16.
Yes, these can be combined. So this is still stuff that we're just doing on one side. We're still just simplifying. We're not doing it on both. And doing it on both, we're not doing opposites. So just 2x plus 16x is 18x. Minus 26 comes straight down, equals negative 8. Okay, is there anything more that can be simplified just on the one side, do you think, John? Nope, that's right. So we're now going to have to do an inverse, right? We're going to do an opposite. And what piece are we trying to move? The 18 is, I want all the x's on one side, all the numbers on the other, right? And this is the only x. There's not an x over here. Do you see that? So I want this x to stay right where it's at because there's not any other x's, okay? So I want all the numbers to move over here. So it's this negative 26 that I want to move. How do I get that negative 26 to move, John? Yeah, but how do I move a negative? I'm going to make it positive. Good. Because I'm going to do an opposite. Good. There we go. So I have 18x on this side equals,
What's the big number?
so we have negative 8 plus 26, and we get 18. 18x equals 18.
So you're going to divide first. That's your first step.
So then we divide by 18 on both sides, and we get x equals 1.
Each one solved. So, and the first is 8 going to 1.
Are we done, Emily?
No.
Why not?
This one for y.
We're going to solve for y. Good. So we're going to take this amount that we have here for x, which is 1. This is 1. X is 1, and we're going to put it up here in one of these. It doesn't matter which. I'm going to use this one right here, this x right here. You could use that x. It doesn't matter. I'm going to put it in that one. And because I'm putting it in this one, this is the equation that I'm writing. I always write the equation where I put it. So y equals negative 8. I don't write x. Instead of I write 1 plus 13. Is already by itself. So I need to look at just this side. Is there anything I can do on this side to simplify that?
Times.
Yeah, I'm going to times negative 8 times 1. Or, you guys, I can, this is all, there's no x's in here. Does everybody see that there's no x's or y's or any variables in here? You guys see that? So therefore, I can just go in the calculator. You guys all understand that? So right here, I can do negative 8 times 1 and then add 13 like Emily suggested, or I can just put this in the calculator. Negative 8 parentheses 1 plus 13. 5. So this side is 5, and we have y equals 5. So we're going to write it as 1 comma 5. All right. Does it matter to me if you use the solving it for y and using the calculator method, or if you use substitution method? I do not care. If you like solving for y and then putting it in the calculator, go for it. I mean, if they're both y equals, I don't know why you wouldn't use the calculator. I mean, you can use whatever method you want, but if they're already solved for y, hopefully you notice that you can just put that in the calculator. Okay? But if you prefer solving for y, or if you prefer substituting, it's just kind of whatever you think is easier. Whatever you think is faster and more likely for you to get it right. I mean, if you really want to, you can do it both ways and check your answer. I don't care. Okay? Let's look at 22. What do you notice about 22, Dakari? Is there anything you notice about 22? Are they solved for y?
Yes.
They are solved for y? They're not solved for y. Okay, sorry. My hard of hearing this. Okay, so if we solve them for y, we have to solve them both for y, right? So we know that's going to be a little bit of work. It's going to be 2, like number 20. You'd have to do both of them that way. Can you do it that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Is there another way? Can anyone think of another way to do it besides solving them both for y? I could use substitution, but then that means I'd have to solve one of them for y, right? And then substitute. That's a lot of work as well. What's the other method it says we can use up here?
Elimination.
Elimination. What does it mean to eliminate something? Get rid of it. Looking at this, Dashe, is there anything that we can get rid of? Looking at the x's, can we get rid of those? What about the y's? The x's? Okay, so -4 plus -1 plus -4, does that cross off?
No.
No. What about -y plus positive y? Does that cross off? Yes. You see how you have a -y and a positive y? If you add that together, you get 0? Okay, so that's what crosses off. The y's cross off because they add together to 0. Does everybody see it? Okay?
Yeah.
And because they cross off, then we're going to add the other pieces. So -1 plus -4 is -5x equals -8 plus -2 is -10. All right? And so now how are we going to solve this, Emily? We have -5 divide by, good, x equals 2. So are we done, John? What do we need to do? Solve x is 2, so we're going to put that back in one of them. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to put it in this one right here, okay? And because that's the one I'm putting it in, that's the one I'm rewriting. So I'm going to write negative, but instead of x, I'm going to put 2 minus y equals -8.
Okay, this is a 2-step. So first you have to figure out.
-1 times 2, that's, I heard you, Dakari, that's right. So that's -2 minus y equals -8. So what do we do next, Jay? How do we solve for y? Huh? I can't hear you. Plus what? That's right. If I add y, y is going to move. I have all my y's on one side. Plus 2, good. And I'm going to add 2 to both sides.
We already solved it.
Okay, so -y equals -6. What's next, John?
What's 8 mean?
-y equals -6.
Divide.
Divide by -1, good. So I get y equals 6.
Yeah, it's like we can do 6.
So I've got 2, 6. 2 comma 6.
Minus the
2 comma 6, because x is 2 and y is 6. Okay, on 23, what do you see there? Emily, what would you do on number 23, do you think?
Eliminate -8y and -8y.
Okay, you have a -8y and a -8y. If you do -8 plus -8, you get 0. -8 plus -8. Is that, you can put it in the calculator if you're unsure. -8 plus -8.
At the same for 6 pounds of squid.
Does that get you 0? So you can't eliminate the y's. Try something else. So if you do 9 plus negative 9, does that get you 0? 9 plus negative 9. Yes. Okay, because we want it to eliminate, and eliminate means 0, right? So a positive 9 and a negative 9, when you add those together, you're going to get 0. So that means that these two right here cross off this time. It's the x's that cross off this time. Okay? And when we added negative 8y plus negative 8, it's negative 16y. And then what about 16 plus 16? 16 plus 16 is 32. Now remember, you have to add. Don't just write 16 down. You have to add them. We're adding them. That's how we're getting them to cross off, is by adding. Divide by negative 16. That's correct. And we get y equals negative 2.
So how do we find out?
Okay, so Dashay, what do we do next?
6 is right above.
2.
That's right. So how much would you pay?
2.
That's right. We're going to put the negative 2 where?
See, you know how to do this. Check the stuff to the next
We're going to put negative 2 in for what? For y. It doesn't matter if you use the top or the bottom one because they both have y's, right? I'm going to use the top one. Not really a reason for that. I'm just going to use the top one. So 9x minus 8. And instead of y, I'm going to write negative 2 equals 16. So I'm going to go right there where that y was. So negative 8 times negative 2 is positive 16. The 9x comes straight down, and the equals 16 comes straight down. That's correct, John. Minus 16 to both sides. 9x equals, that's going to be 0. Okay, I can't just cross it off, because even though they're positive and negative and it's going to cross off, I can't just do that because I have to have something on that side. So 0 is going to stay there as a placeholder because I can't have nothing on that side. Okay? Yes, divided by 9, and that's going to be x equals 0. And then I write it as a coordinate point. X is always first, 0, comma, negative 2.
No,